Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Trip podcast with X.T.C. I'm Shalonda.
I'm Tristan.
And I'm Chris.
As an entrepreneur starting or growing your business, you may have a destination, but the journey getting there can be a trip. We want to be your travel companions and inject a dose of X.T.C as we explore real-life conversations about navigating the world of entrepreneurship in the U.S. and the Caribbean. Come take this trip with us.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Entrepreneur's Trip. We are excited to have this episode here because I think it's something that any entrepreneur who's been in the game for, honestly, almost any given amount of time can understand that entrepreneurial burnout is a real thing. And there are a number of different factors that play into it and a number of different perspectives and opinions that you can get around this subject. So I just want to kick us off real quick with a couple of entrepreneur quotes that will kind of start leading us to what some people think about this issue. So Grant Cardone was a self-made millionaire who disclosed that he was working 95 hours a week. He said, if you ever want to be a millionaire, you need to stop working the 9 to 5 and start doing 95. Gary Vaynerchuk of VaynerMedia said that founders should put in at least 18 hours a day on their first year to succeed. And the Shark Tanks and Fubu owner Damon John said, work, bust your butt, get up before everybody, go to sleep after everybody, and bust your butt. That's it. So that is kind of a common mentality and thread in entrepreneurship that you feel that once you're in, you have to go full speed ahead to 95. But that does come with a cost, and it is only sustainable as humans for so long. So before we get into this, into the how to identify entrepreneurial burnout and then what some of the kind of cures or solutions are to it, I wanted to open it up to the both of you and see when you were starting your entrepreneurial journey, where were you at with this in terms of how much time you needed to put into your business to get going? Who wants to take it? Who wants to take it?
I nominate
Tristan's
Shalonda.
there shaking his head.
I'm going Tristan. You're on the hot seat.
Who gave you control of this thing?
I feel your pain, brother. I feel your pain.
So, when you were speaking, a quote from my mother came to mind, and the quote is, I don't know where she got it from. It says, "The race is not for the swift; it's for who could endure it to the end."
Hmm.
And I hated that. I hated that. So, homeboy that said he clocked 95, he was putting in 95 hours. I was saying, trying to do some simple math. If I had 5 days a week, technically, how much time is 5 going to 25? Sorry, I said 5 going to 25. No, 5 goes into 95. 5 times 20 is
It's actually 7.
100. So that means it got to be like 19. I mean, he was clocking about 19 hours a day, right? The other guy said something like 18.
5 days. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, so I'm a little baffled. And I'm baffled because what I really want to know is that's what it is those guys were probably saying then. I want to know what it is. I remember when I started with this crazy saying, sleep is for the weak. I remember saying that. I remember leaving events, going to work, leaving events, going to work. And they were like, I don't even know where I read it. Like you, as an entrepreneur, you got time to find stupid things. Stupid things. You spend so much hours working that you find stupid things that validate what it is that you do. I read an article that said something like the body only needs. Now, hear me out. It said needs, not want, not what would be essential, not to operate at your most optimum. It said needs. Only 3 hours of sleep. And somewhere in between there, that became, I want to say, what I felt was like that mantra. That's how it is we're living. just ran from different events. When I've told you, like, Shalanda, it'd be crazy. We did a sunrise shoot. So imagine sunrise. We're up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go shoot a sunrise. Now, people are like 3, but the sun doesn't rise until this time. You got to get equipment. You got to prepare. You got to be set up before the sun is ready to come up. You got to make sure the sun is coming up where you want it to. Apparently, I didn't have the app that tells me where the sun comes up. So it's like you're just shooting this vast area. You're like, oh, okay, great. You know, and then when you're done with that, you go through your 8 hour day. So most days, even now that I'm working, I do 8 hours before I get to my 8 hours. And then there's still like a small part of life after that. So 3 8s or what? That I think that's your 24 right there. So you can't do 3 8 hour days. So then that mean that part gotta be like maybe another 3. So you do 8, 8, 3. That brings us to 19. And then I got an hour to prep for sleep. And then but that's just it. Um and that's what you do as an entrepreneur is that you put in those hours in the beginning because what we look at is our glory days at the end. Oh, I'm going to work hard now because it's supposed to be easier in the end. So you're supposed to do this or you're supposed to do that. You know, they're just giving us like a whole lot of, I can't believe this is what it is that we got to do. And this is what I feel scares a lot of entrepreneurs. Well, guess what? Pace yourself. Pace yourself. We spoke about running that 5K in the beginning. Well, you can't run a 5K in 2 hours of sleep. You can't function the way that we would love to call normal if we're not getting enough rest. And that's what the burnout is. We talk about stumbling on pebbles. Those pebbles slow you up so in that way you don't have to encounter the burnout in that sense. It diverts your attention to something else for a small period of time for you to solve. You can feel like you accomplished something because you're working towards that greater picture. That's going to be in the next podcast also. I just want to pretext that. But you know, that's where it's going to go, and it hurts and it burns. It really burns when you got burnout. And that's what we talk about. We just talk about keep punching these hours. You got to do this. You got to do that. And I'll bet my bottom dollar that everybody that said that in the beginning, that's not their mantra to the end, because it goes to stuff like, you know, we work smarter, not harder. You see what I'm saying? Because when you first start, we're like, oh, we got to work, we got to do this. Oh, it's about working hard, it's about your rewards, it's about, and then experience teaches you work smarter, not harder. Before I rant anymore, I'm gonna let you go, big sis.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's interesting because as you were talking, I was thinking of a couple of things. One of them is, yeah, work smarter, not harder. But I think as entrepreneurs, because we want to be able to see in the physical form what we see in our brain, we buy into this social construct of doing, working hard, putting in the hours. And we almost wear, like being busy and working and being productive as if it's a badge of honor, right? The challenge with glorifying the doing and not taking
Right.
time to be is that it does lead to that entrepreneurial burnout. And I could say that from personal experience. So I'm going to just be real and raw here on this podcast. These two gentlemen know at the beginning of the year, I pulled out the 2022 integrated roadmap for Shalanda and the Sky group. Right? Remember?
Wait,
Remember,
pause. Hold on,
guys?
guys. I do. That's why I said pause. Let's put this in the context. I think way early in the podcast we mentioned that because Shalana had like blow my mind.
Yep.
I planned for maybe about 3 weeks. Like, you know, I probably got this going on in 3 weeks, and then like maybe somebody requested a wedding. I got a great aunt that's making birthday in July, and that's it.
Yep.
Shalanda does not do that. She does not do that. She works hard. I admire that about her. Shalana gave us a roadmap. So on it would be like on April 19th at 4 o'clock, I'm gonna have this meeting with Chris. I'm like, damn, well, how you know you're meeting with Chris? But guess what? By 6 o'clock, I'm gonna be meeting with Tristan. And then on Thursday, we're gonna have this group meeting about this. And that's just that one 2 days I'm telling you about. And it's 2 days that she got planned out, and not even 2 days, every day that's already in Shalana's life. Like for the year. Like no days, just colors. Just colors. But I'm gonna let you go ahead,
I
Shalana.
love
Go
you.
ahead.
I love my
That's just to give you
colors.
context.
That's a planner in me. So yes, it wasn't necessarily by day. I didn't get that granular, but it was definitely by month, right?
Yep.
It was from January to December. It was all of the projects that I was aware of at the beginning of the year. Like we were talking about doing this podcast. Tristan and I were working on a passion project. You know, Chris and I work with another company out of Orlando, so we have that to do. I'm working on my PhD, so I have a plan to be done by this summer. Like I had everything that was going on in my life that I was aware of planned out. And how we started the beginning of the year, it was like we were definitely in a race and we were doing things every day, right? But my family was like, you know, Ja, you can't work 7 days a week. And I was like, no, but we got this passion project on Sundays and it's so cool. We're having so much fun. We're capturing. So it's not really work, right? It's like something I'm loving doing. It's something I'm passionate about. I'm working with people that are amazing. So that's like my fun stuff. And they're like, yeah, okay, right? And so I kept doing it. And I remember one Sunday, Tristan and I were down in Frederickstead, and I was like, okay, Tristan, I can't help you pack up this stuff. Do you need anything else from me? Because I got to go home and write my dissertation. And he's like, no, Mama, I got this. And he looks at me, he goes, Shalanta, you really need to slow down because I'm really concerned that you're doing too much. And I was like, no, man, Tristan, I good. We making progress, things looking good. I'm so excited. This is like gonna happen, right? Well, ended up taking a 5-day entrepreneurial training on top of everything else that was going on, right? So basically, this training blocked out 5 full days from 8 to 6 p.m., Monday, Wednesday, Friday for 2 weeks. So all the things that I was planning and doing still needed to get done, even though I was doing this training. So people would say, well, then don't do the training, right? And that's a logical choice. But as an entrepreneur, in order for your business to grow, you also need to grow. You also need to learn business practices. You need to network with other people. So you have to be a continuous learner. So I saw the value of being in this 5-day training, even though it felt like it was going to push me back. So we get to graduation the Thursday. And I get on the phone with Tristan in the morning because he's like, I come into the graduation and I'm just in tears bawling. Right, Tris? I was just a hot
No,
mess.
no,
I was like,
no. You skip. No, no,
what
no.
did I
Don't even
skip?
skip that. So she's
What did I
jumping
skip?
to the juice. She's jumping to the juice. She's not even mixing it good. So this is what
What did
happened.
I miss?
So the morning of, hold on, I'm gonna give it to him. I'm gonna give it to him. Chris, I think you might have been there for part of it. We get there. It's the morning of, and I'm like, damn, I gotta work. I'm working a show, and then I was like, hey ma, I hate to bother you, but the link, I don't even know where I might have misplaced the link. I'm not seeing the link, and we have such a relationship in our tech. You feel the person before they respond. I felt this. Here's the link. What happened? I think Chris, you might have asked for the link also. We were like, no, Chris was like, yo, I've been in here. Did I miss it? And I was like, oh shit, we missed. There's no way because I told her I was gonna be there. Whatever happened, there was a mix up with the time. We're not gonna talk about who did what or who didn't. It was a mix up with the time. And here it is where you've prepared. Now, remember I told you about her colors for every day of the week that she doesn't want to admit of the year. Already color coded the whole nine. I never told you I thought it was a bad idea. I was like, oh wait, I thought it was cool for the networking. What I was confused about was the time, because she already had these weeks planned out, and we're not talking about smaller. They're planned out. Like we got things that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, tell me that thing didn't pause. Tell me. I'm sorry. I live in an island. I'm not
Keep
going to
going, keep
completely
going, keep
blame
going.
the
You're good.
internet provider. I'm pretty sure we got kids, everything. So now everything's planned out. And I was like, yo, mom, are you sure? She's like, yeah, I got this. And I sent the text. I felt the breath. And she sent me the link. And she was like, no, it didn't start. So I called. And I called her. And then I'm going to let you continue with this part.
So he
Great.
calls
She's taking
me.
forever. So I called her. And I completely relaxed. She's like, oh my God. Oh my God. You know, I put 2 weeks into this and this. And I was like, no, mama, no, it's not like that. We gotta get Chris to do that again. So yeah, so I was here. I was like, yeah, no, mama, no, we're not doing this. Just wait, just chill. And she's like, no, it's not going this way. They said it was gonna be at this time. We're gonna do this, and they were, oh my, look, it's coming up. We're gonna be here. But no, the burnout is like a real thing. Like it was
Mhm.
crazy. This happens before we're actually in there for graduation. This is before graduation, so we're not even in yet, right? We catch a fresh breath of air when the shit comes up. Like the link pops up, it says whatever the shit it is about graduation. I'm like, okay, mama, I'm gonna hit you back. Go ahead, blah blah blah. Go. So I'm in here and I'm watching. And now, Chris, if you ever go back and watch that video, there's like 2 points where she looks so concentrated. I was like, like you had that proud parent moment. It's like, oh, look at my baby girl over there. Oh my God. And then you just see this, Chris. She's here. She's like,
No, it was because, after I had my little mini meltdown, like I'm not like an emotional person. I usually can keep my shit together pretty well until I go behind closed doors. But it's like everything just came crashing down that morning, and not the graduation not happening was just one, it was like that pebble, that was in my shoe. It was like that last straw on the camel's back
Yep.
that just, I lost it that morning. And when you called, I was just like, I can't with this shit. I got so much stuff to do. But what was happening is I was doing, and I wasn't taking that time for self care. So, you know, it took every single, and entrepreneurs get this. You might be driving to a meeting, you might be crying in your car, you might be saying, I can't do this anymore. But you got this meeting that you got to show up and act like everything is good. So in the graduation,
yeah,
Right.
right? Like, keep your face, because I could have a resting bitch face, right? So I'm like, keep your face where they don't know. So graduation ends, and Tristan calls me back, and I'm like, I can't do this shit no more. you know. But it also shows that why you need that network,
Mhm.
why you need that support system as an entrepreneur. And as an entrepreneur, when those people that really care and love you, say, listen, maybe you need to pause. Maybe you need to rethink your schedule. Those are just little messages that they're seeing something that you may not necessarily be seeing. And so after that whole experience, I'm working with a client right now, and the client wants to book stuff for 6 days a week, but it's a high pressure industry. They're in a high pressure job. They're in the healthcare. It's a matter of life and death. I was like, how much stress are you going to be under
Right.
every single day? I said, you
yeah,
need to schedule. Yeah, the office is closed on a Sunday, but you need to schedule that self-care day, that day to just go lay down on a beach with a bushwhacker and do nothing,
yeah,
right? Because if you don't take the time if you don't take that time to fill back your reserves, you're not going to have anything to give, because the burnout is
yep,
real.
yep,
Yep.
A lot of entrepreneurs don't talk
yep.
about that. We put on this face like everything is cool when in fact, we struggling
Yep.
because we're trying to do too
And
much.
I'll actually jump in real quick here. So because this kind of ties in with a couple of the signs of entrepreneurial
Mhm.
burnout. So one is, and these are from a couple different sources, but you dread going to work consistently. This one we just talked about. So your mood and personality have changed according to others. Um,
Mhm.
you're
Mhm.
experiencing physical symptoms, always tired. Customers become your enemy, where you get annoyed
Mhm.
when they call you to do another thing. And then this one kind of stuck with me when I read this. It feels like you're serving a perpetual prison sentence with no parole. Um,
Mhm.
and then everyday behavior becomes an addiction, then a vice. Shiny new opportunities catch your eye, so you kind of are like, "Ooh, maybe I
Mhm.
could do something different because this hurts right now, or this is too
Right.
stressful."
Mhm.
Shalonda, this one's gonna hurt you. LinkedIn becomes the bane of your existence. Uh,
I love me some LinkedIn. Don't say that, Chris.
but when you have entrepreneurial burnout, and this is kind of what this article was alluding to, is you start getting annoyed by seeing other people talking about success or just even like industry stuff, and you're like, oh, like just you get annoyed by hearing about your own work. But then
Mhm.
we were transitioning here into some of the ways to kind of cure that, or ways to help avoid it. And there is no prescription or set solution for
Mhm.
anybody. But Shalonda, to your point, take a vacation, and a real vacation, not just I'm going to
Mhm.
go to the beach, but I'm going to be on my phone the whole time doing business. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
that's how
nice.
I do the beach.
Right.
Oh, that's how I do
I do
business
the
too, but that's not a
cabana with the
vacation. But
bushwhacker
that's
with
not a
my
vacation.
laptop. You mean that's not a beach day? That's not a
That's
beach
not a
day with the laptop and
that's a
writing the
beach day, but not a
dissertation?
real beach day.
Oh, okay. So I need to leave the laptop home.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then yeah, basically just starting to be prepared for whatever comes your way. So realizing that your color coded plan may have different colors come in and out. Manage your time in order to physically recharge, which
Mhm.
obviously compared to the 95 hours a week,
Mhm.
is a detraction from that. Stay active, monitor your health, connect with your loved ones, and celebrate holidays and milestones. Um,
Mhm.
so one thing I kind of
Mm.
want to go back to from the conversation earlier is uh, I guess at the beginning, and all those quotes that I had read at the beginning were kind of when you're starting your business. We talked about
Mhm.
working smarter, not harder. But uh, in their defense of those entrepreneurs in the first year of business, there's a kind of like a proverb of a grandson goes and asks his grandmother. He says like, "Hey, grandma, I keep making mistakes. I want to learn to not make any more mistakes. How do I do
Mhm.
that?" And she said, "Oh, simple. You have
Keep
to gain
making them.
wisdom." And he's like,
Mhm.
"Awesome. Like, so how do I do that? How do I gain wisdom?" And she said, "By making mistakes." So so to become more efficient as an entrepreneur, because when we first start out, we're scrambling to pull all the pieces together, wearing all the hats. It's not
Mhm.
until we start getting into the trenches with that we start saying, hey, this is working, this isn't working, this would be better, this would make things more efficient. And then we're able to start narrowing down our time spent. But a lot of entrepreneurs will, to Tristan's point, will end up filling that gap of time with other nonsensical things to make it look like they're working and fulfilling that entrepreneurial journey instead of actually
Mhm.
working on the necessary things. So
Mhm.
that kind of brings me to just a question I want to hear both your responses from. In your business, in each of your respective business, what would you say your biggest asset is? Your most valuable asset in your business?
Time.
Ah,
Okay,
yeah.
you got time.
And the reason I say time is because when you think of a resource, when you think of, say, a laptop, you could always replace a laptop, right?
Hmm.
If you lose money, you could always make more money. But when it comes to time, that's the only resource that you can't, store up the minutes like a cell phone plan and roll over to the next month. It's either you use it or you lose it. And
Right.
I think because time is really that precious, is why a lot of these entrepreneurs have the quotes that they have. Like, you need to maximize the limited time that you have to be able to grow your business. And while I do understand that, what I found after my experience is I'm functioning really in polarities. And what I mean by that is I understand that, there may be a proposal that's due, or there may be a project that I'm working on in the short term, which what might require me to push those hours,
Mm-hmm.
right? But on a more consistent basis, what I need to do is carve out time to be,
Mm-hmm.
to be, to breathe, to pace myself, to have that self care, to recharge my energy. And that takes time too.
Mm-hmm.
But that time is no less precious than the time that I'm spending doing, and it's really understanding the time you spend doing is not as important as the time you spend being. Because when you think about it, the time you
Right.
spend being
Right.
is tied to your health.
Yep.
And that's another resource. If you're not healthy, you can't do nothing else.
Yep.
You don't have the energy, you're physically not capable if you're not healthy. So it makes that time of being and being healthy mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically even more valuable than the time that you're spending being. But you have to find a balance in that polarity that works for you as the individual entrepreneur, because some people can function on 3 hours sleep.
Yep.
Me, one of them. Okay. I need me my 8 hours. Just give me my 8 hours, and sometimes, depending on what's going on, I might need a siesta in the middle of the day.
Yep.
And I'm learning not to beat
Well
myself up,
deserved.
because lunch, I got up at 5 and I worked until 12, and I had lunch and I feel like taking a nap. So I'm going to take my nap and then I'll resume when I get up. But
Tristan,
it took me falling on my ass and crying
right.
like a blubbering idiot. And thank God Tristan and you were there, to help me through that, because the burnout is real. So
Tristan, for
what's happening to
Tricision,
you,
your
Tristan?
biggest asset.
Um, when you first asked that question, and I'm happy Shalana jumped at it to make sure I say something sensible. I was like, man, it gotta be my camera. It gotta be the camera. No, it might be the laptop. Maybe some lights. But all in all, I think I boiled to I was thinking about my skills, and perspective, and it goes to I'm the grandson in your parable
Mm-hmm.
because I've learned from looking at others. I've learned a lot from looking at others. So in that way, I try. I mean, I say I don't, because sometimes they manifest themselves in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And until you hit
Mhm.
that speed bump, you can't recognize it. So I try not to make the mistake I've seen others made. And I just embrace the mistakes that I make.
Mm-hmm.
So I just look at it a little differently. Shalana could tell you, like my perspective, like when I come in, it's like, oh, but I definitely didn't think about it that way, or let's do this
Mhm.
that way. Let's talk about the breakdown that I had recently, the meltdown, the burnout that I was facing, where I missed meetings. Everything that I was doing wasn't coming together as a collective, and during that point in time, I looked at the group and I was like, hey, guys, it's the three of us. We came together, we formed this entity. But if it's for the betterment of the entity, that you guys continue to do what it is that we started out doing, I have no problems meeting, assisting, or whatever it is. But if I'm holding us back, this goes to, I think, part of our commitment conversation and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Then if I'm holding us back, then by no means I understand if we were to move forward without. And that's what I think my greatest asset is. I might not say things I don't want to say correctly, or they might not come off the right way, but it's just that ability to recognize that the betterment of the group, the betterment of the vision, that time teaches you, experience teaches you.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And Shalanda hit it dead on, is that preparation and making time for yourself. Because
Mhm.
when we don't make time for ourselves, we slowly start to lose ourselves and we can't make time for anybody else. Now I
Mm-hmm.
don't have the time to hit these deadlines. Now I'm not doing this. Now life encountered whatever it is that that situation was, and now I can't. I don't know how to handle it because I'm burnt out.
Yep.
So what
Mm-hmm.
seemed like a logical answer, you can't hit logically because
Mm-hmm.
you're in like a survival mode. Oh, we
Yep.
needed this. Oh, we had this perspective. Oh, this was supposed to be this way, and it's not shifting. It's not coming together. So instead of me saying, "Hey, Shalanda, give me 2 days and I'm gonna get back to you," now I'm still gonna take on Shalanda's stuff. I'm like, Chris, I got you with that. You said you
Yes.
wanted this done, and then what happens is that before we know it, you're unable to accomplish anything because you were
Mm-hmm.
so busy doing everything.
Yep.
And that's
Everything.
why I said with those parables about us working hard and crunching those hours, like now that we're talking about it, it just hit me. I was like, maybe this is why businesses fail within their first five because we're so caught up on the doing, doing, doing. You're not making time for yourself. We're doing this. Well, according to this, if you're not doing that, we're not putting enough time. We're not doing. You're never doing enough, and you can never do enough. I'm gonna be blunt about it. No matter how hard you
Yep.
work, no matter what it is that you do, you're gonna look back at it and you're gonna be like, man, the hour that I spent watching this TV show, I could have accomplished X, Y, Z. Well, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? Don't worry about what you didn't accomplish. Worry about working on yourself. Worry about that time, that you invested in yourself that you feel great about. So
And actually,
those
Tristan,
that
Tristan,
that's the time we it's not just about spending time, it's quality time.
you just hit on the head of what my answer is to this question of what is your business's greatest asset. And you both touched on aspects of that tie directly to this, but in my opinion, your greatest asset in business is yourself. Um,
Mm-hmm.
nobody's going to be as passionate, even if you have employees or contractors, collaborators. No matter what it is, your business falls or fails or succeeds based on how much you're able to put in, how much you're able to sustain yourself, your health,
Mm-hmm.
mentally, physically, spiritually, to have that time to recharge. Because if you're out of batteries, your venture is out of batteries.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
So to me, that's
I agree.
where the burnout comes into play. And again, we talked about different signs, and having that network as a solution to let you
Mm-hmm.
recognize when you're not taking care of your business's greatest asset. But at the end of the day, if you focus on your health, again, your mental, physical, spiritual well being, take that time to recharge, even though it is, as you said, uh, time not working on the business, not doing, but being. That is what your business needs. That's a research and development department for
Mm-hmm.
a major corporation. That's the all the time and effort that multiple people handle in a large corporation. But when it's you, you have to be able to sustain those and keep going and keep moving and have that momentum. And the only way to do that is to stop and fill up the tank along the way. Take that time to recharge. Go to the beach, have your bushwhack, but without the computer, and actually enjoy the sun and stuff. Because for me too, I mean, my brain is always going, but it's usually like in the shower when I'm like doing something completely different that I get like my best ideas, and I'm like, oh, why didn't I ever think of that? And it's because I was so
Mm-hmm.
focused on the doing that I didn't take the time to allow new thoughts or new just things to come in and out at will. And that's like, it's like free writing. If you ever
Mm-hmm.
did that as an exercise, I mean, they say just start writing, and then you'll eventually find something to latch on to keep writing about. If you're having writer's block, and I think that's if you have an entrepreneur's block, you have to take that time to just experience other things, get the taste of life, remember why you did what you did. So, people that work so much that they aren't able to spend time, with their family and their kids. To me, being a father now, spending time with my daughter reminds me of why I'm doing what I'm doing. So yeah, that's just where I wanted to bring it to is I think time and the health and everything, it comes simplified into if you're not taking care of, your business isn't taken care of. Shalonda.
Can I jump in? As you guys know, I'm doing my PhD, and actually my PhD is on work passion,
Mm,
right? And it links to entrepreneurial passion. So to your point, if your passion, whatever you're passionate about, whether you're an employee working in an organization or you're an entrepreneur, there's certain things, your environment, your scope of your responsibilities, your job characteristics, your relationship characteristics, that all play a part in how your passion shows up,
mm-hmm.
right? And there, we when we think of passion, we think of the fun part of passion, the
Yep.
glorious part of passion, being in the flow and all of that. Well, that's harmonious work passion.
Yep.
But there is a dark or a shadow side to passion, which is called obsessive work passion.
Yep.
And when you are
I
so
thought about
obsessed
it.
with either your career or being an entrepreneur, that it starts to negatively impact other areas of your life,
Yep.
your relationship with your spouse, the time you spend with your family, taking time for self-care. That's when those are signs that you're in that obsessive zone, and maybe you need to shift back to a more positive outlook and work passion, where you can balance those multiple things, because as entrepreneurs we still have families, right? We still have personal obligations.
Yep.
We're running a business, we're doing all of this stuff, but what we do should not be at the detriment of everything else, especially our mental health,
Mm-hmm.
our emotional health, our spiritual health, our physical health. You know, when you can balance all of those things and still do what you want to be passionate about and still be able to engage with family, then you know you're in that harmonious
Yep.
work passion zone and not the obsessive. So just a little nugget from the PhD dissertation.
Mm. Chris, Chris, I'm over here like I'm happy we got the doctor in the house.
Right, exactly.
Soon to be doctor. Soon to be doctor.
No, ain't even soon. You got it. I'm picking up the
Writing
prescription.
prescriptions for success left and right.
Yeah.
Not, yeah. Awesome.
Tristan, any last nuggets?
I have none.
Tristan froze, so clearly he has no nuggets. So, but
Bring it home, Chris. Bring it home.
well, yeah. So actually, I mean, I think we kind of touched on it. So starting out a business, yes, you do need to get that momentum going. Even with the Entrepreneurship podcast, we had to put so much work in at the beginning, just to get it up and running and get it, from the graphics and website and the topics. Who are gonna be our guests? When are we gonna record? All of that does take a lot of work and a lot of extra commitment on the front end. But once you start getting it to where it needs to be, then I think we had talked about this maybe in a previous or the last episode, but Tristan was talking about building a website and how it kind of had hit some snags, even though we had spent so much time doing this and how frustrating it was. But once we took the time to say, all right, let's take a pause and actually reflect on where we came from, just a couple months ago to where we have the podcast now. And it's not perfect. We're still improving with each recording and each episode release, but we're taking that time to actually recognize where what we put into it, and we're not slowing down, but we're finding our pace, we're finding our balance.
Yes.
And I think at the end of the day, that's if you're passionate about what you're doing, you're taking care of yourself, then the burnout, while it definitely is going to happen because it's just human nature, it's life. But just keeping yourself in check and having that support system around you to help keep you in check, and taking care of your biggest asset. So I think that's it for this episode. And on Entrepreneurial Burnout, the burnout is real, but if you keep your sense about you and keep reflecting on where you are and take that time to check in with yourself and ask others, like, hey, am I acting differently these days? I mean, Shalonda and I had a couple, a call a couple weeks ago. We're like, all right, I don't know what's happening in the environment. Yeah. I had just moved. I was losing my shit, and we were just like, hey, whatever energy is, yeah, together. Exactly.
Thank God for Tristan.
and it was a bad trip. It was not.
It wasn't a good trip.
But but at the end of the day, we're here together, and again, we're leaning on our support system, and now we're able to look back and laugh on, you know, what we were struggling with just a week or two ago. So the burnout is real, but keep yourself in check. Take the time to actually detach, to just have that time, and you can pace yourself to win the race and be the tortoise at the end of the day. So
that's right.
That's it. That's it for this week, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Thanks for joining us on the Entrepreneur's Trip with X,
Shalonda,
T,
Tristan,
and C, Chris. Have a good one, everybody.
Thank you for taking this trip with us. We hope you had a great time. Join us every Tuesday for another dose of X.T.C. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and visit us at theentrepreneursstrip.com for more entrepreneurship tips and trips. See you next time.